the Model T that rolled out of this factory in Araby, Louisiana would have a top speed of about 45 miles per hour. 43 years later, the GT40 had a top speed of 200 miles per hour. Call that progress. I'd also call on a stunt driver. Rick DeBrule has the details.
You ready?
I was born ready, Mr. Shelby. Hit it.
Hi, my name is Tony Hunt. I was a stunt driver on Ford versus Ferrari.
My name is Darren Law. I was also one of the stunt drivers on Ford versus Ferrari.
But the producers of Ford versus Ferrari wanted more than just stunt drivers. They wanted racers.
Is Robert Nagel, the stunt coordinator, kind of pulled a group of actually accredited drivers that were race drivers at one time, or existing race drivers, to come and do the movie rather than the whole stunt community.
I've been to Le Mans. I've won Daytona 24-hour overall in 2009, so I am from a racing background.
Giddy up! Giddy up!
I was fortunate to play the part of Ken Miles, which was Christian Bale's character in the movie.
What stands out to me is how hard it is and how much work you have to put into it, how many times we'll have to do a scene over and over again. There was a portion of this movie where we did it at Willow Springs Raceway in California. A lot of the filming, the early filming was done there, and it was probably close to 100 degrees. It was hot, we were sweating, and I mean, it's just nonstop. I mean, you're just sweating and going, and we have to do a scene 10 times over. I'm like, really? The camera here, the camera there? So it's actually pretty grueling. You're going from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., you know?
It's one thing to know how to drive fast, or maybe to race a car, but to do the stunt work for a movie, well, that's a lot more precise.
Doing the scenes in the movie is so much different than driving the race car in a race. You know, in the race you're pushing hard, you've got to go for the win, there's no holding back. And in the movie it's very controlled. You've got to regulate yourself. You do things that you're not normally used to doing, such as, you know, going for a crash as opposed to avoiding it, or locking up the brakes and purposely skidding and sliding. And
I think one of the trickiest parts of and challenging parts with Ford versus Ferrari was some of the rain scenes we did, not only at night but during the day as well. They dump a lot of rain on a specific surface area, and we come in it on dry as fast as we can, and once we hit that area, it's kind of like hydroplaning up on that surface of rain. We've got the windshield wipers going. They're never really that good, so your visibility is always in question. You know, we were always thrilled to get back to the hotel at night when we were doing our rain scenes.
I did have some things where I had to drop a wheel off the side of the road, had to lock up the brakes, had to slide and avoid and be careful. So yeah, I had some of those scenes where I had to do these things that I would normally try and avoid doing.
It's just part of the game. I mean, you're dealing with cameras sometimes that are hanging off the cars that are $500,000 worth of equipment, and you're trying to stay off the sky, but they want you to be as close as you can, as fast as you can in that element. And there were some close times, but fortunately there were no unintended damage to any of the cars or any of the cameras. So
While Darren was a movie rookie, Tony already has plenty of movie credits, including The Fate of the Furious.
Fast and Furious franchises are always exciting. I worked in Iceland on a dry ice lake bed for about 5 weeks, and there was enough explosions on that scene to cause a next world war, but those were really exciting scenes. A lot of fire, a lot of close proximity, driving into the fire, out of the fire, with cars moving around, going everywhere on a slippery ice bed. It was exciting. Every day was a new day.
Ford versus Ferrari may not have had as many explosions, but it had something that touched the very soul of these racers turned stunt drivers: historical significance.
You're placed in these scenes that the backdrop and everything is period appropriate, and you've got 200 or 300 extras on the scene and everybody's mingling about, and then you look down at what you're dressed in and the helmets, what they used for safety equipment back in the day, and you're just going, wow, these guys, not only were they brave, but they were the real heroes of our sport. And it's really emotional. I mean, every day that I strapped in that car, I'm certainly engaged and I'm focused on what I'm going to do, but I'm certainly you know, really embracing, obviously, recreating that history. It's an emotional impact.
For me, it was a really cool experience being involved in a movie about racing, because I mean, that's what I do, that's what I've done all my life. I've been involved in racing and following this era, and these were some of the heroes that I grew up watching and knowing about, and knowing the history of this whole story. It was an unreal experience for me.
They do pay us, but I'll tell you, in a movie like Ford versus Ferrari, a lot of guys would cut off their right shift hand to be a part of a movie like this, and we're certainly grateful for that opportunity, and it was a thrill every day, and certainly proud to be a part of it.